Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Well established with the aim of setting the global standard in sustainability learning, the Institute of Sustainability Studies delivers online education courses to companies to assist them in implementing meaningful changes in their organisations. Niall Collins, the CEO of the Institute of Sustainability Studies, joins us now to discuss the growth potential of this online education provider. Niall, sustainability has been the hallmark of your own career to date, so provide us with an overview of that journey.
So, Karl, really, I'm a biochemist by trade. Did an undergraduate in biochemistry in UCD, but really didn't know how to direct my career. I'm also a big sailor and kind of moved into working on boats past my graduation and also sailed across the Atlantic. And I tend to kind of tell people around have a bit of a Ellen MacArthur moment. And for those of people who don't really know, Ellen MacArthur is a famous sailor who sailed around the world solo, non-stop, and kind of from her experience living within a closed system where every resource was precious, it drove her passion around the circular economy, and she went on to set up the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, a leading NGO working to deliver a circular economy. So I think from my experience in terms of seeing plastic waste in the Atlantic Ocean and very far from human pieces, I wanted to really drive and have an impactful career. So that brought me back from boats and undertook a master's in UCD on green technologies and renewable energy, and moved into the sustainability consulting space where I supported businesses from small SMEs up to large corporates who are really grappling with the challenges of implementing sustainable business practices. And I think what really stuck with me is the education gap within businesses when I was working to support them. And really the opportunity arose to be part of the founding team at the Institute of Sustainability Studies, and I recognised that kind of growing green skills gap within the global economy, and we thought we could deliver an impactful solution to help close that gap.
So what was your overall vision for the Institute of Sustainability Studies?
Businesses wanted to take action, knew about sustainability and how important it was to stakeholders, but were lacking resources and knowledge and skill set internally within their teams to bring about this change. There was a lot of courses out there, but we felt both being either academic or not as practical focused for business professionals. And really we have a global vision from the get-go in terms of, the global challenge, therefore need a global solution, and we feel we can deliver a solution at scale to meet that challenge.
So talk us through the range of programmes that are on offer through the Institute.
So we have a number of programmes. I suppose our flagship course to date has been the Diploma in Business Sustainability. So this is a 12 module course. It's university accredited, so participants do gain university accreditation upon doing it, which maps onto European qualification framework. As I mentioned, it's very comprehensive. We wanted to give people really a strong foundation within the space. So it goes from how to put together a sustainability strategy and plan all the way through to ESG reporting. Again, that practicality focus is key for us, and we did this a number of ways. We wanted to give people the tools and templates, the practical knowledge and steps on how to bring about change, but also working with expanded faculty, both academics and practitioners, into a space who are working with businesses on a day-to-day basis and bringing this information into our courseware to really, as I mentioned, empower people. What we've done now with this course is unbundle it or sub-segment each course into its individual segment, which means we can offer now a more tailored solution. Because what we found, particularly with individuals coming on the course, were that they were company funded. It was largely business professionals, as I mentioned, and they were requiring more of a teams training solution. So this now unbundling means we can tailor our solution to meet the needs of an organisation. So, for example, we can provide training for their procurement teams, for their finance teams, or their marketing teams, depending on their learning needs.
And have reporting requirements under the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive accelerated the demand for these programmes?
Yeah, massively. I think what we're seeing at the moment in the environment is, with these now mandatory reporting regulations, is the movement from voluntary action to mandatory action. So I mentioned that a number of businesses were taking action prior to these regulations, but a lot of that work has been done really just from a voluntary perspective. But this movement is moving it from a nice to have to a must have, and businesses really need to begin to take action in order first to comply, but also to improve upon that information. And a big movement with this regulation as well is it is staggered. So what you'll have is the big, larger organisations having to meet reporting requirements by April, and then the group of a larger group of organisations by the following year. But because it is value chain wide, even the suppliers of these large corporations are going to have to provide information up to these big buyers who are reporting as early as April. So it has been a massive impact, and I think particularly a big focus has been on reporting. And I think what we will see from our perspective is upon understanding compliance and reporting, organisations then taking action to improve upon that information. So bringing about change and improvements within their operations.
So Niall, what is the Institute's typical learner profile?
What we've kind of seen, particularly with these reporting regulations coming through, that you have learners working within the finance space or kind of consultants and professional services. Again, because, that's kind of the immediate need for a lot of organisations, is that they need to understand how they can comply, produce this report in order to comply and avoid heavy fines. But we do get a mix of individuals both working in the marketing space, and as you can imagine, over the last number of years with greenwashing as well as greenhushing becoming more and more prevalent, marketing professionals and communication professionals want to upskill and make sure that they're kind of providing consumers with accurate information, as well as your typical, procurement, operational professionals who are with the nitty-gritty trying to optimise and improve and also kind of decarbonise the business.
Is the Institute of Sustainability Studies developing its own course content, or are you relying on that of partner universities?
No, we produce our own course content. As I mentioned, we partner with a large faculty of academics and practitioners in the space. Sustainability is a huge space. It's so broad, in fact, that it's very difficult for one individual to have a holistic, I suppose, understanding of the whole area. So we then try and find specialists within their area, so be it biodiversity, circular economy, sustainable finance, and we work with this subject matter expert to help co-develop our content. All our content is developed is delivered via a learning management system. So participants can have ultimate flexibility with their courseware, and means they can also work through it in more of a that suits them. They tend to be busy professionals, both personal and professional life. So it gives them time to work through it in their own time rather than having to go into a lecture hall or a workshop.
And what has worked well for the Institute from a marketing perspective?
To date, we've been very successful from a marketing perspective. We're trying to drive really our name as a thought leader within the space. So in terms of providing white papers, ebooks, guides and lexicons to our network. Again, we're providing these as free resources that drive knowledge within the space, as well as having our own courseware. And this has worked really, really powerfully. Another big area as well is running webinars. We obviously have a strong faculty base, and we can pull these in, and also making sure that we can pull this back to the practicality piece. So working with professionals who are in the space, who can walk individuals through case studies, through examples of how we do this. So from an inbound perspective, that's been really successful, and also kind of driving our name as a leader within this space as well.
From a geographical perspective, what markets are you currently operating in, and what does your roadmap look like in that respect?
From a geographical perspective, we really focused to date on really our home markets, Ireland and the UK. And we've seen a big uptake in the UK, particularly in terms of this. But we've also, from the get-go, have got a global footprint. We've participants from the rest of the EU, Asia, Australasia, Middle East. And I think moving forward into 2025, we'd like to spread our growth more into the rest of Europe, as well as looking at the Middle East through strategic partnerships in that vein. There's big growth within that area, particularly as you can expect with the economies trying to move away from oil. And I think they are in dire need of support in that sense. So we see a big opportunity within the Middle East region as well. And
in order to achieve your goals, will you require external investment?
Yeah, so we were lucky that we got, so we established in June 2022, and we got an initial pre-seed investment at the end of 2022, which enabled us to really launch and develop our first product and begin trading in January 2023. Where we want to begin to do now is really scale that growth. We've been very successful in terms of organically growing what we have, and I think we would like to take another bit of investment in to really accelerate that growth, particularly looking, as I mentioned, within that B2B space and growing and supporting businesses and their teams with upskilling their needs.
And Niall, as a startup entrepreneur, what has been your greatest challenge over the past 2.5 years?
We've been very lucky as a startup. We've had a really strong founding team with experience both in the edtech and sustainability space. We had a really strong investor base initially where, a hinge on their experience, and have also worked within the ed tech space. So that's been really, really lucky. And as well, we're part of Enterprise Ireland's high potential startup. So it's been really strong grounding, and that's really helped kind of navigate the initial challenges of starting a business. But I think if you really push me, I think making sure in terms of the space is keeping the team focused on our course of our vision. Sustainability, as I mentioned, is a huge space. There's a lot of areas to cover, and there is varying needs. And I think the initial knee-jerk reaction is to try and do everything. And that can be a challenge in terms of focusing a small team and its resources, and to make sure we can prioritise our actions, focus on our key milestones, and keep reminding ourselves when we turn our back on an opportunity, it's not that it's a no, it's just not right now.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Niall Collins, the CEO of the Institute of Sustainability Studies, and I'm sure that the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive will enable the business to continue on its upward growth trajectory.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.